Hi, this is Denise Montanino with Shrouded Stories. I'm here today to discuss Pam Moon's experience with the Holy Shroud of Turin. So I'd like to open up the conversation. It's so great to have you, Pam.
Thank you so much for asking.
Yes. So we'd like to hear about your experience with the Shroud and anything that comes to your heart that you'd like to share with us today.
Okay. So I learned about the Shroud from my mother, who saw a black and white negative of it when she was a young woman, and she taught me about it. And then in 2002, I started to do talks, and in 2008, I bought a life-size replica of the Shroud from Barry Schwartz, and started to put together exhibitions for that. And I was deeply blessed because in the first exhibition I did, it was in a small Anglican church in North Birmingham, and the then Archbishop of Birmingham came, and he opened doors for us. He then became the Cardinal of England, and Archbishop Vincent Nichols, his name is, and that experience taught me to trust God's timing. That the chances of him turning up in a very small Anglican church on the 3 days that the exhibition was on, and then he invited us to go to Birmingham Cathedral and then afterwards to Westminster. And so that was one of the first introductions to the little instances, the coincidences, the God instances, and God's timing in things. And then over the years, so for nearly 18 years, I've been doing this, and I've heard some lovely stories. So I was just saying, I've just finished a Catholic conference a few days ago, and a woman came up to me and gave me a big hug, and she said, "I want to tell you, my friend wanted to come to hear about the Shroud, and she was determined to come to the talk, even though she was pregnant and heavily bleeding. And I didn't want her to go, but she was insistent. And so we came, and she learned about the Shroud, and then she got out a picture, and she said, 'This is my goddaughter. This is the little baby that was born perfectly healthily and well.'" And yeah, so that was just such a wonderful story.
Wow.
But there are other stories. So I was just relaying another story about I took it to a prison once, the Shroud to a prison.
Yes.
And there was a prison guard there who I don't think had a faith, and she was in a very heavily guarded prison, and she needed to keep that professional appearance with her to make sure that she was completely in control. And she was on the stage, and I rolled out the black and white negative in front of her, and you could see she was struggling to cope. Her eyes filled with tears, and she was desperately trying to keep in control because there were prisoners in the room.
Yes.
And it is that impact that the Shroud has on people's lives. I was at the conference last week, and this young lad came up to me, and I explained a bit about the Shroud, and he sort of said, "Why don't people believe in this? It's there in black and white." As if it's so obvious, isn't it? and that sort of the teenagers, and it's just great to see their responses.
Yes.
And children, I've learned over the years that children can't see the image to begin with of the big Shroud. They tend to. We always look for images that go portrait rather than landscape. And so they'll look at the burns or the fire damage, and they'll say, "I think there's an eye here." And then if you sort of keep saying to them, "Can you see the face?" And bit by bit, they get the hang of it. And when they do, it's amazing. There's this sort of, and they point at it, and do you know what I mean? They get so excited.
That aha moment.
Exactly. And it is that sort of hidden nature of the Shroud.
Yes.
But there are other few stories. I've just done a repeat visit to a church in Hereford, and there's a wonderful story from that where I've got a blown up version of the face, which is 7 feet tall, and some of the people who were working to greet visitors found a young woman on her knees in front of it, very upset, and they asked her, what is it? And she's explained to them that she was American, and she was in Hereford for a few days, and she just happened to walk past the church. But she'd had cancer and had been miraculously healed after Jesus appeared to her in a vision. And she said that was his face.
Wow.
And I don't think she knew anything about the Shroud before then, but that was his face.
Wow.
So those sort of powerful stories of the grace and the beauty of the face of Christ. I remember the first time I ever saw the shroud in Turin. I remember standing in front of it and thinking, is this the blood of Jesus that saves me from my sin? Is this the face of God? You know, and the more I study it, I don't think there's any other answer than yes, it is.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Mm.
Wow. Thank you so much. I just love those stories. And is there anything else that you feel compelled to share with us?
Well, there are other few stories. So I remember I went to Birmingham Cathedral, one of the first things that Archbishop Nichols organised, and I remember there was this huge man he was from the Czech Republic. It's not called that now, but it was then. And I mean, he was sort of 6'4" and huge, but like a rugby player.
Mm-hmm.
And he just stood motionless for about 20 to 25 minutes in front of the big shroud. And I went up to him and said, "Are you all right?" And he just turned to me and he said, "What it cost him to save my soul." And that's always stayed with me. And I think the more we meditate on what it did cost him,
yes,
and the different natures of the injuries, the different natures,
wow,
it does have a profound and a life-changing impact on people.
So powerful. And how different people bring to the table different experiences and different opinions and perspectives.
Exactly.
These young children you describe see it in so black and white. I mean, look at this. It's right there in black and white. I mean, how wonderful.
Exactly.
I just love all of that. Thank you so much.
Oh,
This has been such a pleasure.
Such a pleasure.
Thank you.
Well, he's beautiful.
Yes, I agree. Thank you.